So this has some platey structure here, as you can see. You can lift it up in plates like this. There's another plate coming across. So it's a pretty good example of platey structure. And this horizon here, the second horizon, is breaking out as a pretty good prismatic structure. So it's longer than it is wide. So I'm going to grab it here before it falls. So I've brought some samples back to my house to take. I brought them out of the field. It was really noisy that day when I was there with the excavator running, so I didn't do a lot of the descriptions on the camera. But what I wanted to show you is I have 4 samples, 4 horizons. So here are the depths, and I've already gone ahead with the Horizon Nation. So 0 to 12 centimeters is an AP, was in a wheat field that was quite eroded. And then 12 to 31 centimeters was a BT1. 31 to 79 I went with a BT2. And then 79 to 152 I went with a BTK because there were carbonates that came in. So it's a pretty typical horizon that I tend to see in this area. And so I will say that I described the colors already. So I went with Moloch colors to a depth of 31 centimeters. And then I went one chip away from that. 10YR 4.2 on the next horizon down, and 7.5YR 4.3. As you can see, the clay content did not vary that much. I went with silty clays the whole way, and I didn't have any. I just went with 40 and 42% clay. So it wasn't a particularly interesting horizon, other than you notice here on the structure that I did originally. I had weak, medium, subangular blocky structure, and then I realized that sorry, my sheet blew up there. So it's quite platey. So I actually altered that to be moderate, medium, platey structure. So as I said, in the field there was wheat growing, and here you can see there's some of the wheat still alive, and you can really see this platey structure here. So this is a field that has tillage done, and so this is where some of a previous year's stover would have been tilled under, and it's not decomposed at all yet. It's just very present right there at the bottom of one of those plates. So again, quite platey structure in this particular horizon. And the clay content is already at 40%, so that's another hint to me that it was pretty eroded. So the next horizon down, I started with, I didn't have any redox in the field yet, although I do see some mixing of colors. I do see some dark colors in there and some lighter colors in there, but I think that's just mixing from the surface horizon that's gotten down in there. Could be from some earthworms, could just be from some cracks opening up as well. So I didn't see any redox in that particular horizon. The third horizon, I said that there was 1% iron manganese, and I think that's still pretty reasonable. I don't see much, I don't see any other orange models or really any gray models in there. Maybe the slightest bit after this is dried and smeared a little bit. But where the redox really picked up in this one was in the last horizon. So in the last horizon we did have calcium carbonate nodules. So if I put acid on that nodule, it definitely would fizz. I can set that one out here to the side and get that in a minute. And then also there were some pretty good bright colored models in this particular horizon. So I colored the horizon as a 7.5YR 4.3, and I went with a 5YR 4.6 for my model color on this particular horizon. My cat, Jackie, has decided to make an appearance in the video. He is probably a nice shade of N2.5/, I would say. He's got a very nice white blaze on his chest. I have to pick something off of one of the white pages for his chest, I'd say. But one of the last remaining properties that I need to do is the void surface features. And so on the first horizon, I'm not going to put any clay films down, even though arguably there probably is a little bit of the BT horizon mixed in with the A horizon that's been largely eroded off. The second horizon, there are clay films. So as I rotate this, hopefully you can see a little bit of shininess reflecting off of that, and that is the clay films. And I'll try to have a close up with a different camera here in this video a little bit later. They're spliced in, but there is definitely shininess. So I'm gonna say 15% clay films, and I'm going to say that they are a darker color than the matrix. So I have the matrix color as a 10YR32, so I think I'll put the color of the clay films down as a 22. So that's under here, this horizon. I'm going to say 10% clay films. I think they're on all the PED faces, and I think they are 10YR22. The next horizon down, and now we're joined by my cat again, the clay films increase. There are a lot more clay films. So I'm going to up those to, I'm going to say 25% on this particular horizon. They're pretty extensive. I mean, I could go higher than that. I usually, you know, I mean, 25% for me is pretty high, so I think I'll put 25% clay films on all the PED faces again. And so 25% clay films on all the PED faces, and I'm going to stick with the 10YR. I might go 3-2 on this particular horizon. You can see cattail right here in my video. And then on the last horizon, they back off some. There are definitely quite a few still in it, but they aren't as thick as the horizon above it. And so I might drop these back to, well, I say that and then I find a really big shiny PED face there. Now, when I see something that shiny like that, it makes me think of the Slick Insides. And as I was breaking that one apart, it did kind of remind me of that, but I didn't call it in the field, so I'm not going to call it here in my disturbed sample, I don't think. So I think I'm going to go to back to 10% clay films. And they are on different PED faces, so I'll say on PED faces again. And on this horizon, my matrix is a 10Y or 7.5 YR43. I'm going to say that the color is a 10YR33. Could be a 7.5 YR33. I find coloring clay films to be quite difficult, to be honest with you. In the field, I said that there were few fine pores, and I said that there was few fine pores in all the horizons. Jackie wants to say hi. In all the horizons. And honestly, that could probably be dropped back to very few. But there are roots that go all the way down. The roots that I'm seeing, they're probably not this year's wheat roots, because this year's wheat is not overly large yet in that particular field. So maybe they were last year's soybean roots. I'm pretty sure this was soybeans last year. I saw some, they look like, you know, the leaf petioles, I think, where the leaves attach to the stem. And then as far as pores go, this is not an overly porous soil either. So I would probably say few fine pores for most of these horizons. It's not, like I said, not overly porous.